We both just kicked off in Boulder recently, and it's been such a good experience for both. And the thing that's become really obvious, really quick is, man, this is a cool community. The programming is outstanding. There is so many cool athletes and stories and backgrounds, and just opportunity to shine a light on all of that and help build the brand. And like, man, there's a lot of goodness going on in here, and we want to help
Yeah.
um, yeah, just shine a light on some of that goodness. So this is an
Yeah.
experiment, and I think it could be cool. We'll give it a go and see how it goes. So first off, my name's Josh Boonstra. I just started in the Boulder athlete community not too long ago. Aaron and I kind of kicked off similar time frame. I've been doing CrossFit for like 10 years. I'm a husband, father, um, lifelong athlete, and I made it to the CrossFit Games last year, which was such a cool experience. And naturally, I'm hopeful to do that again this year. And Aaron pushes me daily to help ensure that that becomes a reality there. I'm really curious, like for anybody who's checking this out, is like tell me more about your background. Like where
Okay.
did you start? Were you, do you have an athletic background? How did you get into CrossFit? Like what have been some of your like challenges that you've overcome, maybe accomplishments that you feel proud of?
Mhm.
Yeah, talk to me about that.
Yeah. So I'm Aaron Houchin, um, father of three, boy, girl, boy, and I own a CrossFit affiliate, which is pretty cool. So I get to do all the programming for the gym. So my guys have went from Mayhem, now they do Boulder now. Always been an athlete, always, played some kind of sport with a ball, and played baseball pretty serious into college. I played a little bit after college. I finally got to a point where I was like, it's not going to happen, not going to happen for me. I actually ended up playing football when I was 20, I was 26 or 27. And my parents would let me play football. So, or they really kind of were like, no, we really don't want you doing that. So I got to play later on. I played a little bit of arena and some indoor leagues and stuff like that, and a little bit of development football. So I got a couple of years of that in. But I've always been a very sport driven person. I got into bodybuilding at like 22, 23. So that's kind of where my foundational piece went. I competed in one show when I was younger.
Oh, we're gonna see some pics of
And
that.
yeah, pretty,
Big goes
uh,
up.
that was, yeah, I'll have to bring those up. Yeah, those are pretty funny actually. Yeah, that's a different world, completely different world. But that's kind of the world I grew up in my weightlifting career too. And with CrossFit, it kind of came around. I was working at Lifetime in Atlanta, and this I saw some guys doing some CrossFit, and I was like, this seems cool. And these guys are like really good shape. I was like, and I'm in good shape too. Like I can do this stuff. And I think that's what kind of like propelled me into fast forwarding a little bit there, but that propelled me into, my desire for CrossFit. And then once I got into community and I found out that I could do this like the rest of my life, but and do it by myself too. I don't necessarily have to have a community. It's great to have that, but I can do it in my garage here or wherever. It's a great thing. But CrossFit's been just an amazing thing for me, and it's really given me that um, help me scratch that itch, I guess you could say. How about that? Like,
Yeah.
because once your playing days are over, you better have a plan, because if not, it's gonna be trouble, especially for people. I know that you're a top end athlete and you're a very competitive person, and I'm sure a lot of people in CrossFit are. But this is the one of the best things you can do to like fulfill that little hole in your athletic life.
One of the things that drew me into CrossFit so early on was like, I just love quantifying my fitness and I need to be able to have a competitive outlet. And
Mhm.
given my college career and football was done, doing flag football and games with the boys and things like that was always fun, but it wasn't, it wasn't super competitive and I needed something and this was that. But the truth is like the vast majority of people are not looking for that level of competition and they
Mhm.
really stick to the community. And that is the other
Sure.
just incredible piece of not only CrossFit, but what we're finding now in our early days of Boulder. The community is super cool, very tight
Hmm.
and super
Yeah.
supportive. You and I, and we'll get into this too, but like we've been a part of the Mayhem community for a long time, had
Hmm.
done great things there and loved that and was so loyal to that group and that program and had accomplished great things. And I had done comp train before, I had done brute strength
Hmm.
before that, and just they were just different stages of my like competitive career. And yeah, at this stage of my life, man, Boulder is just hitting the sweet spot for me
Yeah.
and checking a lot of boxes. And yeah, grateful for the community to have us in it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear a little bit more about like what's the thing about Boulder that's drawing you to it, and what are you digging about it?
Yeah. Yeah. This Boulder community has been pretty cool. I feel like we're at the ground level and we're definitely climbing to higher and higher peaks. I feel like every month a few more people are joining, and then I feel like they're sticking to it versus people just jumping in for the trial and then going somewhere else. I really feel like people are, and I've got people messaging me about it, about the Boulder programming. And they've been coming on, and half the time they know within a week if they're going to do it or not. Like, I mean, it's been pretty obvious, good changes. Um, I'm really excited to see how big we can grow this because it'd be really cool to be the foundational kind of people that have kind of catapulted this thing forward. But I love the programming. We're getting a lot of touches on movements on a regular basis. So I feel like I'm not dusting off some of the movements per se, in some of the programs we've done where we may not have done a chest to bar pull up in 2 weeks. With Boulder, you're going to get a lot of gymnastics work and you're going to get a lot of touches on a lot of those common things you see in competitions. So I
Yeah.
definitely feel a little more rejuvenated. Some of the workouts are nice and quick, and I'm in and out in 90 minutes. Some of the days are a little bit longer. And I've really enjoyed the variety and just this, like I've said in some of the chats before, like I feel like this is one of the first times going into Fitness of the Coast or any kind of pretty serious competition that I'm not scared of anything that's going to be presented to us in a week from now. I'm
Yeah.
just not. I always, with some of the other programs, I was always a little, not skittish, but like just unsure, maybe 90% confident. I am 100% confident going into next weekend. I'm gonna, I'm gonna do my absolute best. I've touched everything I needed to touch in the weight room, and my mentally I'm there. My body's pretty good shape right now. I'm very healthy at the moment. You know how it goes when you train so much, but um, I think it's given me a nice mental edge because I'm still training really hard, but I'm not completely broken down. How about that?
Yeah.
I'm just excited about the process, and see where we are. This time next year will be super interesting.
Here's a question
Yeah.
for you. Like we're talking about obviously kind of pretty upper level of competition, which is just
Hmm.
where you and I fall, and that's awesome. And we've certainly worked hard to accomplish that. There's a lot of folks that are not, even interested in that level of competition.
Hmm.
And there's parts probably of both of our stories that still relates to the non-competitive
Hmm.
piece. And I'm curious for you, like, what are some of the things that you've overcome?
Hmm.
Like, what are the big challenges that you face? Whether that's like, oh man, staying motivated or,
Hmm.
you know, s- getting up each morning or afternoon or whatever when you do your
Sure.
workouts and kind of keeping to your
Hmm.
routine, injuries that you've overcome, setbacks that you've
Hmm.
had, things that, regardless of your competitive level, like people are going through this stuff.
Yeah.
What are some of those things that stand out to you, and like how do you approach it? How have you overcome it?
Yeah. The injury thing is, if you train on the level we train on, it's going to happen. I don't know how to put it, but it's going to happen. You're going to have some wear and tear, especially if you're training the volume we train. I mean, we're in a very small window of between being injured and being massively fit, and we can't stay there the whole year. We've got to back off some. That's another reason why this programming, I feel like they've been building up to the open, which has been really nice. um I've been injured a couple times. One time with a knee at Legends in 2022, injured it in warm-ups.
Mm.
Basically uh, uh quad strain and a partial tear in the meniscus, warming up on the treadmill. Imagine that. you know,
Wow, of all things.
um, I finished the entire Legends weekend injured. Got back. I got back to the house. I did a bunch of research, and I just started. I created my own rehab program, and I just one day at a time. I was still doing some mayhem programming then. Everybody else was doing squat, clean, and jerks and back squatting and stuff, and I was doing high box squats, and I was working on some of the jerks, but I was doing a lot of strict pressing back then. I was skiing and I was sitting on a bench and I was doing ski when we had that called for. I couldn't really row. I was using my arms. You make modifications as you're getting healthier from a big setback like that. I could have sat there for 2 months and just been like, well, I'll just wait for it to heal, or I'll have surgery, or I'll just feel bad for myself. But that's not the kind of person I am because I really enjoy working out. Um, but yeah, there was months and months and months there of the program I was on, and I would just modify and do my own thing. And I mean, I was scaling and changing all sorts of stuff. I mean, I couldn't really do box jumps. I was doing, I was jumping. Actually, I was in box jumps to a little plate.
Hmm.
Like I don't think y'all noticed.
I mean, you've been in a boot
Yeah,
recently,
and I've been
recovering
in
and
a
just
boot.
trying to get yourself healthy for Fitness to the Coast. But the thing that you're touching on
Yeah.
here, like, is what I think people can relate to is like the need to scale.
Hmm.
You're doing it because of injury,
Hmm.
and so that
Sure.
was your circumstance, but you were finding perspective and a way
Hmm.
to continue to make gains even though you were scaling. For the vast
Yeah.
majority of people, they just need to scale just because they need to scale. Like their
Yeah.
ability is still evolving, and scaling is the best thing. But it doesn't mean, it's less. It doesn't mean it's a
Right.
lesser way to approach the work. You
Yeah.
can still be aggressive. You can still be really creative. You can still be, you can make real progress
Yes.
in scaling. I think that is just a good mindset shift. As I've been doing CrossFit for a long time, I have certainly been in the boat where, man, I have to scale and I feel like a lesser athlete or
Mhm.
my ego is just too big and I just don't want to
Oh,
scale.
absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
I'm going to do something stupid that I shouldn't be doing simply because I don't want to scale. I don't
Yeah.
want part of that camp. And man, the truth is there's so much goodness to be scaling. The thing that I'm thinking about right now,
Yeah.
between you and I is we've got somebody in the wolf pack who should be
Hmm.
scaling sometimes and is going through this,
Sure.
they're injured
Yeah.
and trying to fight their way back and just the perspective shift of like, look, there is real progress to be made in
Yeah.
making
Sure.
modifications and like
Hmm.
finding the goodness there and staying connected and motivated to that. It's
Hmm.
hard to do, but I still struggle with that personally. Like
Hmm.
I still, now the leaderboard is advantageous and it's a curse, right? It's a blessing
Hmm.
that you look at it and you're like, okay, that's the motivation I needed. I want to be competitive
Sure.
with this group of athletes because that's where I think I fall. But also there's moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's my ego taking over here and I need to just like
Sure.
put that aside and do what's the right thing for me and be smart. And I have days where I lose that battle and I have days where I do the right thing.
Hmm.
And, I think a lot of us, maybe I'm the only one, but I'd like to think that many of us go through that, at least in seasons.
I mean, the leaderboard is great though. I mean, it's a good kind of barometer of where you're at
Yeah.
to a certain point. Because when you get live competition, it's different because some people just show up. The lights come on and people just, I know a lot of athletes that just, they'll put up leaderboard scores that are decent and they get under the lights and it's a different animal. And
Yeah.
then some are the opposite. They're number one leaderboard. And as soon as we get out in competition, they're in the back of the pack. I mean, it's just, but whether you're going to be a competitor or you're just going to, you're a dad that stays at home with the kids or mom or whatever it is. I mean, this is a great program to start off with. I
Um,
mean,
Gosh, I've got all sorts of things I kind of want to
yeah.
get to. One is like, you and I obviously have a relationship. When did we get to know each other, by the way?
Uh,
How long have we known each other?
probably 20, probably 2021, I guess. Probably somewhere around that time at on Mayhem.
Okay.
Maybe
We just bumped into
2022,
each other on
maybe.
the leaderboard and we're like,
Yeah.
one of us reached
I,
out. We were always chatting back and forth just I think it was Sugar Wad.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
exchanged numbers somewhere along the way.
I've only done that with a couple other people because like I felt so I looked back. Actually, it's kind of funny. I went back into Sugar Wad and looked back at some of the workouts, and it was kind of funny. There would be like a top 10, and I would be somewhere in that top 10, and then that next 10 to 20, you were down there, and now like you have flipped. So I'm
Yeah.
still in the top 10, and then now you're in the top five, which is really a really cool like transformation of somebody who I feel like the only thing you needed was like a little bit of external motivation.
Well,
Yeah.
you're totally right. Like, I played sports my whole life, so my athleticism background and kind of foundation was there. But my overall, like total discipline, my consistency, and just the intensity that I was bringing every single day on a really consistent basis
Hmm.
wasn't there. And when you and I got connected and you pulled me into our little text group,
Hmm.
like, you know how much I appreciate that group. And man, we share that with each other all the time. But to have that sense of community, especially if I was working out, by myself in the garage,
Yep.
and I was connected to nobody. I'm just doing my own thing.
Hmm.
Nobody knows if I miss a rep, or skip a
Right.
workout or whatever. And
Hmm.
now to have a group of guys, high integrity guys that I know, not only good athletes, but just good humans. Man, we've supported each other through some dark, dark times. We celebrate each
Yeah.
other on the good stuff. And like you guys, and I've said this multiple times, have just been like the special sauce for me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a yeah,
It's been
that's
cool
a
to see it.
small pool within the community, but the larger Boulder community as a whole, like, is that. And I've
Yeah.
been super grateful to be a part of it. I mean, that's why we're doing this, right? This conversation, and
Yeah.
we'll see if anybody thinks it's interesting or not. But like, I do agree, and you touched on this earlier. Like, Boulder it feels like it's in its infancy, but
Yeah.
the opportunity
Yes.
is so great, and the
Yep.
product itself,
Hmm.
the programming, Jason. I mean, clearly
Hmm.
it validates that this stuff works, and
Hmm.
the community is so good, and it's so welcoming and really genuine, and so like there is just something here that feels really special, and like honestly, just to be a part of it, I'm super excited about. But then even more than that,
Sure.
can we shine a light on it and help grow and build and recognize all of these athletes and stories that are within it? Man, there's just a
Yeah.
big opportunity there.
I like that it's a little bit smaller right now, and I'm getting to know some people that probably I wouldn't get to know if it was a much larger group when we came on.
Hmm.
But I think that's the beauty behind it right now. And I am seeing the programming like because I we've been in enough now that they're seeing the way that it's progressing now. The gymnastics especially is just like it's just getting easier. I mean, it's still hard.
Yeah, still
it's
hard.
just it's just like my body is like I said before, I'm not having to dust off all right, here we got chest to bar day. We haven't done chest to bar in a month. You know,
Yeah,
it's been
yeah.
nice. I'll tell you what's been really nice is even those warm up pieces, sometimes aren't so friendly.
Yeah.
They are if you're kind of like tired that day and you're a little worn out, a couple minutes into that you're awake.
You're going.
Like
Yeah.
the
You
first
bet.
couple rounds might be bad, and then you're okay. Like,
I was not used to doing basically what is amounts to two Metcons in a day,
mhm,
every day, with those, like, kick off with a
right,
gymnastics Metcon and then you end with some hell.
yeah,
And oh man,
yeah,
you and I both started. Now, you had some previous history, so you had a sense of like the level of volume. I had no exposure to Boulder, but you and I
yeah,
started in like
hmm,
week 6 of 8 in this
yeah.
hellacious
That
cycle,
was bad.
and we're like, what have we got ourselves into?
I was in trouble
You
the
know?
first week. I was in the weeds pretty bad that first week. I was in the Epsom salt baths at night. I texted Jason. I was posting on Circle like funny photos. Him pushing me around in a wheelchair and stuff. Like I was pretty broken that first week. But like he said, he's like just hang in there because you guys are at the end of what we've been building.
Well, note to anybody that's watching this, if you're considering getting into Boulder, don't start at the end of a cycle.
Yeah,
Give it a minute, start at the
yeah,
beginning of a cycle because it's very thoughtful and it's very linear the way that the programming builds, and
mm,
slowly and incrementally just gives you more and more volume
yeah.
you can handle. And that is the thing that's got me so hooked right now is like you can see that there is real intent week
Hmm.
after week and how things build. And then, as you feel your body adapting to that increase in volume, and you just realize, man, I can take on more and more and more. And, you just
Right.
your fitness evolving. Like, gosh, talk about that's all the motivation you need. The
Hmm.
things that you're doing, the time and energy that you're investing, paying off because the programming is so thoughtful. Like, that's all I need to see. That keeps me super locked in.
So your motivation is to go back to the games. That is that your primary motivator, or is that a like part of it, right? Because like
Yeah.
after the games ended last year, you have to look at, okay, like I need to get my body back on track again, spend some time with the family now because I spent all extra time training or whatever it was, and then
Mm.
I have to get mentally like back into this, go back up the mountain because you already went to the mountain up to the top, and now you're back down again, and you have to climb back
Yeah.
up to the mountain. So that's kind of where I was going with that.
I don't know if this totally answers your question, but it's certainly along these lines. Last year was a weird year in that, you know, I wasn't focused on going to the games. It wasn't even really on my radar. It was like, hey, I just, I want to do well in the open because I'm really competitive. And that went well. Okay, I want to do well at quarters. All right, cool. I made it to semis. I want to do well there. By that time, because of all of the logistics around like filming and I got to redo it twice and now I need somebody to come judge me who knows these movements and it's a logistical mess and it really
Yeah,
it's an inconvenience to the people that I had to go and ask to come, can
yeah.
you help me do it? And I was just like, look, I don't want to inconvenience people anymore. I think I don't even know if I'll do semis. And then I did, and I was like, oh gosh, I think I actually have a shot at this, and then qualified. And then, obviously going to the games, and was such a cool experience. I was just thrilled to be there. And then to finish in a place that I was like, I'm pretty darn proud of that.
Hmm.
It has definitely changed the outlook for me now in this season, where now I'm like, well, that's clearly a key checkpoint of my fitness. Can I qualify again? And so, yeah, I really want to. Is it a motivator for me? Absolutely, it is. Has it changed my approach to this off season? 100%. My
Hmm.
fitness is in a different place now than it was at this time going in to the Open last year. Back to like the confidence in our preparation conversation, I'm way more confident. Uh,
Right.
but there's a lot of factors, and you just don't know. You don't know if you're going to go, and there's a lot of things that could go sideways on me. So I'm not going to like judge my identity on do I go to the games or not, but I'm pretty dang motivated and I'd sure like to go, yeah.
Yeah,
What about you? I
that's a
mean,
cool
you're
thing.
right there, man.
Not
What
close.
you finish in semis? I know you were like literally the cusp, maybe the phone call
So
of
yeah, we
going.
were two out from going. Um, that was pretty tough. That was a pretty tough blow.
Yeah.
I The only thing I could have done different, and it was in my control, and I didn't do it, is I could have redone the first workout, the first semifinals workout, and I would have been right there in the games.
I know.
I got to those 225 snatches. I came right off the rower. I walked right to that bar. I hammered the first one, and I said, "Oh my gosh, like I'm about to put up an elite time here." And then I missed three in a row,
Yeah.
and then I hit back to back. I actually almost quit the workout actually after I missed that third one. I almost quit.
Mhm.
And I walked back up and I said, I'm going to do this. And I hit the next two back to back. Now, I finished that and I was like, it was still a good time. But
Yep.
to go to the games, it has to be an elite time. And that was 2 minutes and something that I was messing around with the snatches.
Hmm.
If I would have redid that one, like people told me to do, I would have been in the games and it would have been an issue. But, it falls on me and I should put more priority on that. And I just kind of felt bad. I felt sorry for myself. And I was like, I don't want to do that again. It's kind of like one of those things like, you know, and now I look back and it was like a huge regret because the other workouts I did they were perfect runs.
Hmm.
I made no major mistakes on two, three, and four. And now that I know after asking other people who went to the games, and I don't know how many times you did this, but there were guys that did these workouts sometimes three times, man. Like
Hmm.
like I usually do workouts like one time. I get a strategy and I hammer it and I'm done with it. But this year, it's all out the window now. I may do these work. I may pull a Luke and do it four times if I have
There you
to
go.
because I am not I'm not going this off season
With
thinking
regret.
about that. The rankings in my head. I mean, I told my brother I'd make the games. I was going to the games 6 years ago. I said I'm going to make it either 35, 39. I'm going to make it 40, 44. I was like, that is the ultimate goal. I want to get there one time. That's all I want.
Here's what I would finish with. If there was somebody considering Boulder,
Mm-hmm.
we have people that will come and ask us this today.
Sure.
For people that are considering Boulder, like what are some of the things that you tell them?
Um, Take everything nice and slow. refine your movements, ask lots of questions. That's the number one thing. That Circle app we use, email Jason, email any of us, or call us or whatever. That is we have so much experience and knowledge to help you. And a lot of us may have started off a little higher than others, but like I coach people who have never done any CrossFit. So I see it all the time. I see it on a weekly basis. And you're not alone. But this is a great, warm community, and everybody's here to help everybody.
Aaron, thanks for doing this first
Yeah, no
experiment.
problem.
Hopefully this was cool, and
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes.
it was awesome, man. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, you too, buddy. All right.
Okay.
See you,
All
pal.
right. Bye.